Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming to y'all with the Washington football team versus Chiefs preview. Week 6 matchup, man. This is a big game coming. It's a lot to prove out there. I mean, they even got to prove a lot of us wrong. But y'all know how these preview videos go. First, I'll give y'all the power rankings between both teams, what they were ranked last week and what they're ranked going into this week, just so you can get an idea of how close this matchup is. Then, of course, I got to break down the injuries on both teams, and then I'll give y'all the full-blown injury report tomorrow once they actually officially say who will and who will not play. But as of today in this preview video, I'm going to tell you who looks like they are going to play and who looks like they will not. You'll know officially tomorrow, and then I'll update officially who will and will not play tomorrow. And then I'm also going to break down the history between this matchup. Every time the Washington football team and the Chiefs have played throughout NFL history, who's winning that matchup, who's winning that rivalry. And this one's really ugly for us, man. And then, of course, I have 5 matchups, 3 X factors, and 1 score prediction with a summary. Again, this is every week, so y'all already know how this goes. And without further ado, let's get it. Alright, so first of all, last week we were ranked 21st. This week we're ranked 26th in the power rankings. And the Chiefs last week were ranked 6th, and now they're ranked 10th. So both of us went down, but I mean, it's still the 26th ranked Washington football team versus the 10th ranked Chiefs. Still a big gap. But then when you look at injuries, it's pretty ugly. It's kind of ugly on both sides, but it's uglier for our side. Because as of Thursday, today, Samuel Cosmi, Jared Norris, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Sheriff, Cam Sims, and Sammis Reyes with a back injury that suddenly came out of nowhere. I'm just now hearing about it today. None of those guys practiced today, and the chances of any of those guys playing on Sunday against the Chiefs are very slim. And then we already have guys like John Bostic and Torrey McTyer out for season. Brandon Sheriff isn't expected to be back for like another 2 weeks anyway. And then limited, so even if they do play against the Chiefs, they'll be banged up. That's Jonathan Allen, De'Ami Brown, Antonio Gibson, Cole Holcomb, and James Smith-Williams. It's ugly. And then on the Kansas City Chiefs side, linebacker Anthony Hitchens was a limited participant. Chris Lamons and Lucas Niang have fully participated all week, so they're good to go. But then Jerron Reed, Travarius Ward, Blake Bell, Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, and Joe Thuney have not participated in practice at all this week. So some of those guys may play on Sunday, some of those guys may not. Most notably Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, and Joe Thuney. And then as far as matchups go, this is one of the darkest of all that we're going to deal with this season. We've only played the Chiefs 10 times in NFL history, and they've won 9 of them. We've only won once. The one time we won was in 1983. Other than that, we have never beaten the Chiefs. And a lot of these games aren't even really close. 2013, we lost 45-10. We lost 29-20 last time we played them in 2017. 14-6 in 2009. 45-13 in 2001. 24-3 in 1995, 35-6, and it's just bad the whole way down, man. It's ugly. I mean, we just have not been able to beat Chiefs in history, and if you're going into this week right now, you would think, why would this week be any different? This is probably one of the best Chiefs teams in their history, and then we're struggling because Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback they've ever had in their franchise history, even though their defense is struggling right now, and they're underperforming as a whole. But we're a big disappointment right now as well, and this is definitely not the best Washington football team ever. So it's definitely looking a little ugly for us, which takes me to the 5 matchups, 3 breakdowns, and 1 score prediction. Starting with the matchups, number 1, special teams is going to be huge. They are going to have to bail us out big time this game, because even if this defense has the best game they've had all season and stops a diddly Chiefs offense from scoring a lot, because they're going to score, they are definitely going to move the ball. And special teams will have to step up big time and flip field positioning for us a lot and often. Both the return and kicking team will be very important this Sunday. If Tress Way can do what that Saints kicker did against us and almost single-handedly ruin 3 opposing teams' offensive drives, that will be a huge help, because, man, that Saints kicker was killing us. There were at least, at minimum, 2 drives that he basically single-handedly killed himself, because we were out there on like the 1 or 2 yard line, and that limits your playbook, and we just inevitably ended up punting it anyway. Then number 2 matchup, which offensive line can protect their quarterback the best? According to Pro Football Focus, the Chiefs have the 9th best O-line in the NFL, and we have the 10th. And it's crazy too because Chase Roulier is our lowest graded offensive lineman with the 69.9, which is basically a 70. And no other offensive line in the top 10 has a lowest graded player that high. So it's like we have the most solid top to bottom O-line in the NFL. But our best lineman isn't as good as these other teams' best linemen. So we don't have the best O-line in the NFL, but we have the least weak. That's the best way to say it. Our weakest player is better than every other O-line's weakest player that's in the top 10 of O-lines. But every game is won in the trenches. But this one especially is going to be won in the trenches because these are 2 top 10 O-lines. And each team's opposing defensive line has a huge task in front of them this week. Each of these teams' defensive lines are going up against one of the best O-lines they'll go up against all season. So the team with the O-line that plays the best and allows the least pressures on their quarterback will probably end up winning this game. Both of our O-lines may be missing an all-pro guard each, which is a really interesting parallel. They may be missing Joe Thuney, and we will be missing Brandon Sheriff. So this will be a very interesting matchup, especially in the trenches. And then speaking of trenches, our D-line has to dominate. We say this every week, but like when you're going against an elite quarterback, your defensive line has to dominate. We're going to talk about the secondary next, but our D-line finally had a really good day against the Saints. The Saints and Giants games are by far the best our D-line has looked as a whole all season. And Chase Young finally had his game against the Saints. And we need him to continue that momentum moving forward big time, especially this game. I mean, our secondary, with how they've played so far this year, stands no chance against these Chiefs receivers, injuries and all. Tyreek Hill there or whatever. Because it's headlined by Travis Kelce, and we let Dawson Knox kill us. And Dawson Knox is having a really good season, but he's still not Travis Kelce. So D-line, we're going to need a lot out of y'all today on Sunday, man. We need those plays where the Chiefs receivers are open, because they will be open quite a bit. Probably you can even say a lot. But Mahomes won't be able to get them the ball because our D-line sacked him first, or they hit him as he was throwing the ball, and then the ball ended up wobbly and inaccurate. We're going to need that a lot against the Chiefs because their receivers are going to get open quite a bit, which leads me to our secondary, which is the 4th matchup. And boy, oh boy, man. I mean, I don't even know what to say, honestly. It's the same mistakes every week. Most of it communication and scheme. Guys not executing. I mean, people even losing one-on-one matchups. It's ugly. They just simply have to be better. I honestly don't know what to tell them. And then this week, we're going against one of the best receiving corps we'll go against all season, especially if Tyreek Hill's playing, but he may not play, which will help us a lot. But that doesn't mean our secondary will not get cooked Sunday, even if Tyreek Hill isn't playing. So be ready for that. And then the 5th matchup, our skill positions on offense against the Chiefs secondary that's been really bad this season as well. They haven't been as bad as us, but they've been really bad too. And they've been one of the main reasons the Chiefs have been losing so many games this season. And luckily for us, the Chiefs also don't have a Marshawn Lattimore, which will help us out a lot. Because Terry should be open a lot. And if he's not, that means they're using a lot of players to stop him. So somebody else should be open if Terry McLaurin is not open every play. So we need these other receivers to step up big time, like DeAndre Carter, Dax Milne, Adam Humphries. They did last week against the Saints, and we need it again this time. But luckily for us, the Chiefs secondary, the Chiefs defense as a whole is not as good as the Saints defense, and specifically secondary as well. And then my 3 X factors. Number 1, 3rd down defense again. This last week against the Saints was finally the first week all season where our 3rd down defense wasn't horrendous. It wasn't necessarily great, but it also wasn't horrendous because, I mean, the Saints also just dropped a lot of those 3rd down conversions. They would have a 1st down, Alvin Kamara or a random receiver would just drop it. It's not even like we played great defense all of the time. But I'm going to need y'all to do it again. I'm going to need y'all to be better because, again, a lot of those passes were dropped. But at the same time, we just need y'all to repeat that same success, whether it's luck, whether it's y'all, whatever. We need that again. Number 2, don't allow big plays. We got killed on big plays. I mean, if you think about it honestly, if you take away those big plays, our defense had a good game, but you can't. Those big plays were inexcusable. The first one where we had Landon Collins, he went from strong safety to free safety right as the ball was being snapped, and Bobby McCain, who's our rangiest safety on roster, probably him or Jeremy Reeves, moved from free safety to strong safety. So Jack Del Rio, I don't know what that was. I don't even know why you thought Landon Collins could defend a receiver deep down the field. Jameis Winston saw that and was like, oh yeah, this is easy touchdown, and threw threw it, and of course it was an easy touchdown. And then the play right before halftime, the Hail Mary where nobody went for the ball, I don't know what that was. Granted, I think because of the Torrey McTyer injury with a similar play at the end of the Falcons game where he ended up tearing his ACL and being out for the season, maybe that was in the back of their heads, but that is absolutely no excuse at all for nobody even trying to get it. And so we just allowed too many big plays. The Alvin Kamara big plays, you kind of expect those, but still, I just need way better out of this defense, and you just can't allow big plays. This last week was probably the first time our defense, if you took away big plays, actually looked pretty decent. But the big plays just ruined it all and honestly made our defense look worse than it's looked all season because the big plays were just so like, what are y'all doing type of things. But if we're just talking down to down, last week against the Saints was probably our defense's best game as a whole. Maybe the Giants game when they clutched up at the end, kinda, but they were just getting dominated the first 3.5 quarters. It's just, either way, our defense has been terrible. We can't allow big plays. Then number 3, the final X factor, we need Heineke to bounce back, man. This Chiefs defense is nowhere near as good as the Saints defense. So if there's a time for you to have your bounce back game, it's against the Chiefs. But at the same time, the Chiefs just got roughed up by one of the best defenses in the NFL, the Bills defense. And so they're going to come into this game angry. And so they're going to want to take that out against us. So we'll see how that goes. But again, third and final X factor, Heineke, it's time for you to step up, man. You have this nice, perfect opportunity of a season to show that you should be a franchise quarterback. I'm in the boat where I love Heineke, but I think he's just a great backup, and we should go quarterback first round, even trade up if you have to get that franchise guy, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, whatever. But this is your time to prove me wrong. Go out there and prove guys like me wrong. And then my score prediction, honestly, the matchup is a little bit closer than most people think, but I'm still gonna have the Chiefs winning 27-21. It may be even closer than that because Heineke may tear up that terrible secondary with some garbage time yards and points and may make it look even closer than it actually was. Who knows? So yeah, I have the Chiefs winning 27-21, even though if you look at it, the Chiefs lost to the Chargers and Bills in a total of points worse than we did. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we're better than the Chiefs, but it's just time to go out there and prove everybody wrong this Sunday, including me. But I thought it was really interesting that if you look at how many points we lost by total against the Bills and the Chargers versus how many points the Chiefs lost by against the Bills and the Chargers, they actually lost worse than we did. So we'll see. Again, the Chiefs are going to be really angry. This is going to be their revenge game. This is going to be that shut up, first take, shut up, first things first, undisputed, all of these sports shows talking about we fell off. This is the type of motivation the Chiefs have behind them this week, and sadly we're the ones in front of it. We're gonna catch it. But man, if the defense goes out there and does what they should have been doing all season, and based on how they looked towards the end of last season and with the way our offense has been performing, this game should be way closer than a lot of people think. But again, this defense hasn't looked like last year at all so far. We saw a little bit of it against the Saints, a little bit of it against the Giants. But if they don't go out there and play better against the Chiefs, this is going to get ugly and fast. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video, the end of this preview. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything I discussed in this video. Give me your predictions. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points. And as always, man, please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. And as always, I appreciate all of the support, man. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. A special shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. I want to get a film session done tomorrow for y'all with something concerning the Saints game. I may look at Jamin Davis. I may look at Heineke. May look at the Terry versus Marshawn matchup to see if Terry McLaurin was truly locked up like a lot of people are saying, even though I disagree. I may do a film session on one or two of those things if I have the time tomorrow. And then of course, like I said in the intro, I'm gonna give y'all the official injury update tomorrow once they say who will and who will not play as far as the Washington football team and the Chiefs go. So be on the lookout for all of that content tomorrow, as in Friday. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.